We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Our text for study is Panchadasi, and we have covered chapter 10 before, where Atma was described as Swayam Jyoti. My real nature is the light of consciousness, which illumines itself without any medium. That was what we had studied as the feature of Atma. In this chapter, chapter 3, we are going to study how to arrive at this nature of ours by differentiating the Pancha Koshas. Tattvabodha defines Atma as something different than the Pancha Koshas, something different than the three bodies, something different than the three avasthas. So this chapter focuses on the 5 koshas. This is the subject matter of a very famous Upanishad called as Taittiriya Upanishad. All seekers, they go through this Upanishad to understand their own nature, which is free from the body, which is free from the mind, which is free from all sorrow in life. There is such a thing. There is something which is called as consciousness, satyam, chaitanyam, ananda swarupam. There is something. Today, I do not know what it is. Through the study of the scriptures, I am trying to see that nature, that crystal-free nature, that medium-free nature of mind. And the scriptures tell us, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads tell us, that that nature of mind is eternal. It is immortal. And that is called as Brahman. In the scriptures, in the Upanishads, it's called as Brahman, that nature of mind. So if somebody asks me, who are you? Normally, I will say, I am Radha, I'm Uma, I am so-and-so. That is a name given to this body. It is not my real nature. It is not my intrinsic nature. What is my real nature? The real nature, according to the scriptures, is I am a pure light of consciousness, which is ever there. It was there before the birth of the body. It is there now. It will be there after the body leaves. That is why it is called as eternal. It is called as immortal. These are all words which try to describe something which I don't know, which the senses cannot perceive, which the mind cannot think. Therefore, we use the Shastra, we use this Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads as the source of knowledge to reveal this fact for me. When my intellect tries to understand this fact, it is a slow process. It is not something which you just hear and you come to realize it. This realization happens through a three-way process called as Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Shravanam is listening to this knowledge, getting the scholarship of what is this Tattvam, what is this Brahman, what is this Atman. So first we listen to the Guru, because the Guru knows it already. He has the experience of the Tattvam. He wants to describe that to the Sishyas, to the students. And then he says, okay, let me explain this. The only way he can do it is by using the means of the Shastra. So Shastra is extremely important in the Shravanam state. Then the second state is Mananam. Mananam means thinking or reflecting on what I have heard as my nature, removing the doubts. Then Nididhyasanam is a process by which I sit down for a certain specific time, deliberating on the thoughts of the Upanishads and telling myself, I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am Satchit Atma. I am the pure self of consciousness. I am a pure being. This body and this world which I'm experiencing is an appearance. It is an appearance like the dream world. The waking world is also an appearance like the dream world. It will disappear. When I go to sleep, it will disappear. For me, not for others, because they are still in the waking state. For me, I am experiencing three states of consciousness. Who is this I which is experiencing waking dream sleep, waking dream sleep? That is the question which we have to find an answer through this chapter 3. So as I said, this chapter consisting of 43 verses, focus is exclusively on our nature, which is different than the 5 koshas. We have covered 2 verses. Today we are going to take the 3rd verse. In the first 2 verses, Vidyaranya gives, in the first verse, what he says is, there is something called as Brahman. And this Brahman is there in this body. And what is this? What is this? Where is this? It is hidden in the cave. It's hidden in the cave of the intellect. This is the first verse. And clearly he says it's possible to know this Brahman. So number 1, I can know it. It's not something which cannot be known. So all of us, we should start the study by saying, yes, it is something which I can know, you can know, everybody can know it if you follow the verses, if you follow the methodology adopted by the scriptures. The second thing to know about this light of consciousness is it is hidden. Where is it hidden? Is it outside somewhere? Is it a cave in Himalayas? No. It is hidden in the cave of my own mind. So the effort I have to put in is remove all the sheaths which I think I am, and then see who I am. So that is the exercise. The first verse discusses the methodology of trying to understand where is this Brahman or the core of our personality. Then the second verse described the 5 koshas. Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, Anandamaya kosha. It enumerated the 5 sheaths. And then from verse 3 onwards, we will be studying each kosha and understand why this kosha is not my real nature. So the third verse, we will just listen to the chanting.
पितृभुक्तान्नजाद्वीर्यात् पितृर्भुक्तान्नजाद्वीर्यात् जातो अन्नेनैव वर्धते जातो अन्नेनैव वर्धते देहसो अन्नमयो नात्मा देहसो अन्नमयो नात्मा प्राक्चोर्ध्वं तदभावतः प्राक्चोर्ध्वं तदभावतः.
So what does this verse say? The first kosha we are discussing is Annamaya kosha. Annam means food. The sheath or the dress which is worn by the Atma, the outermost layer is called as Annamaya kosha. It is produced from the seed and the blood of the parents. And this seed and the blood is in turn produced by the food eaten. Therefore, if I continue to eat the food, this body will grow. But this body is not the self. It is not me. Why? Because it is not there before the birth of this body, and it will not be there after the death of the body. But the scriptures tell me, I am there before the birth of the body. I am there after the death of the body. The scriptures are the only proof for Atma. The sense organs are not the proof. The mind is not the proof. The world is not the proof. Because the scriptures say, I am Atma, I am there before the birth of the body, I use the scriptural statement and reject body as myself. That is the essence of the third verse. The body is produced by the father's seed and the mother's blood, which is called as ova or embryo. The cells formed by the combination of this sperm and ova, and then they modify. There are 6 modifications in the Tattvabodha explained in the Tattvabodha, asti jayate vardate viparinamate apakshiyate vinashyati. Asti means it exists. Jayate means it's born. Vardate means it grows. Viparinamate means there is a stability where it doesn't grow, it doesn't decline. That is called as viparinamate. No change. Apakshiyate means it starts declining. And vinashyati means it gets destroyed. In Chandogya Upanishad, it is clearly an example is given, experiment is given. They say, suppose you don't eat for 7 days, what happens to you? You will have weight loss. Suppose you don't eat for 1 month, further weight loss. That means what? The food and the body are connected. But why the body is not the self? Prachordvat tat abhavat. That is what's said in this verse. Prachordvat tat abhavat means what? It does not exist either before the birth or after the death of the body. Body is perishable, therefore it is not the self. Like this, we are going to study all the 5 koshas and we are going to reason them out. It's a step-by-step discussion which will follow. In Chandogya Upanishad, now all these verses, they have a backing in Upanishads. So those verses which are connected with these verses of Panchadasi, I have put them together. And there it says that how the body, how the jiva comes through different stages into the food and how the food becomes the body. That is the 5th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. Aitreya Upanishad also says, in the beginning there was Atman alone. Nothing else was active whatsoever. So this Atma was there without the body. This is another proof why we say that body is not me. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad very clearly says that the food makes this body. This verse is very long, but the essence of this is whoever eats the food, the Father has eaten the food, therefore he transforms the essence in him into another body. What is the meaning of kosha? Kosha means a veiling, a cover. It is a guha, a cave. Like a cave covers whatever is inside, kosha means it is a covering. So this body is what? It is a covering. It covers what? It covers the Atman, the pure soul, which is my real nature, the pure light, which is the light which illumines this body, which illumines the world. And whenever we say there is a kosha, it means there is something precious inside. The inner kosha is a propeller, controller of the outer. This point we should remember. The Annamaya kosha is covered by Pranamaya kosha, the air which we breathe. So this air, this Pranamaya kosha controls the external body. And each kosha, you go deeper and deeper, that becomes the controller of the outer kosha. Like Manomaya Kosha is the controller of the Pranamaya Kosha. The Vijnanamaya Kosha is the controller of the Manomaya Kosha. So that we will keep studying, but this is how it flows. Now, Deha, the root is Dahati. It is burnt. It goes back to the elements. So body is something which goes back to the Mother Earth. The air in the body goes out, mixes with the air outside. The fire in the body mixes with the fire outside. So all the Pancha Bhutas in this body, the Dhatus, they all go back to the 5 elements. Maya in Sanskrit has got 2 meanings. One meaning is it is prachura. Prachura means full of. Chinmaya. Chinmaya is our nature. Chinmaya means what? Our nature is consciousness, which is Chaitanya. Suvarnamaya, Bhushanam. Suvarnamaya means full of gold. Is this chain? Annamaya means it is not full of food, but there is a different meaning which is called as vikara. So Maya has got 2 meanings. One is prachura, which is full of. The second is modification, vikara. So when we say Annamaya, it means it is a modification of food, like modification of milk is the kheer or the paisam, or the modification of the milk is the curd. It modifies, changes, but the content is the milk. So Annamaya is a vikara of food. It is a change in the food element, and that becomes the outer sheath. Different bodies are there: Pankaja, Jalaja, Andaja, Jarayuja. The scriptures are very clear. They say there are 5 types of birth which are possible. Born from slush, Pankaja, moisture. Born from water, fishes. Andaja, born from eggs, birds, reptiles. Jarayuja, born from the womb of a human being. So the essence of food modifies to become, in scientific language, is called a zygote and plastula and so on. There is a little bit more descriptions which I have in these notes. The cause of the body is the food. The body houses the jiva. How does a jiva come into this body? Body is there. It is made up of sheath. It is made up of food. But how does the jiva come inside this? Jiva means the soul. The scriptures again are the answer to this question. Chandogya Upanishad describes this process. For those of you, you can go deeper, but it is also discussed in Brahma Sutra. The jiva exists in 14 lokas. According to the scriptures, there are 14 lokas. Like this earth, this cosmos which we are able to experience, there are 14 such lokas. And this jiva comes to the bhuloka from the other lokas. The jiva always exists. Now, how does it travel? Now, that travel is described in different stages. They are very, very subtle stages. It travels through the cloud, through the rain cloud, through the rains, through the plants. The rain falls in the plants become the sperm becomes the zygote, and then the jiva gets into this body. Now, all men do not have the jiva in their bodies, in their sperms. The cosmic law decides which jiva with a particular prarabdha goes to a father. That jiva alone goes. As per the prarabdha karma, that particular one jiva goes to a particular father and a mother. And then that father and mother give birth to the child, and then because it is a cosmic law, there is no proof for this. It just happens in cycle. Whoever deserves a child gets that particular jiva in their family. And Shastra is the only means of knowledge regarding this, because it is a laukika vishaya. It is not a common knowledge from what we can see through our senses in our day-to-day transactions. That is why it is called as alaukika. Jiva does not belong to any of the parents. The children come through you, but don't belong to you. We give house to the soul. The soul is not yours. The soul belongs to Ishvara. You see, we are only giving a house to a particular soul, which has entered this particular body. As per the cosmic law, the soul belongs to Ishvara. It does not belong to the parents. Body is born from the food eaten by the mother and the father. The body stays in food after it is born, and it goes back to the food. Annamaya is not Atma, but it is a means to know the Atma. So Deha is a vikara of food. It is not there before, it is not there after. This food sheath has got bhava, abhava. When it is there in the waking state, we say it is bhava padartha. This food sheath is abhava in sleep and in death. The Charuvakas, Jain, and the Bauddha philosophers, they say that body is everything, body is the Atma, consciousness is intrinsic to the body, life is short, eat well and be happy. This is what the Charvakas, that materialists, they say. Self is the body, and that is according to this school of thought. But Vedanta says this body is not the self, consciousness is the self. And this consciousness is not intrinsic to the body. It is separate from the body, it is independent of the body. The body comes in consciousness and goes out in consciousness. What does the Vedantin say? He says, if body is Atma, in a dead body also, there should be no consciousness, hence body is not Atma. The dead body doesn't have life in it. So basically but according to scripture, the person is still there, the jiva is still there, but the body is gone. So what is the essence? It is the reflected consciousness which has left the body. Okay, so that was, in short, what it meant is the body is not the self because it is born of food. That is the essence of the third verse. Now let us see the fourth verse.
Purvajanmanyasannetad janma sampadayet katham भाविजन्मन्यसत्कर्मः भाविजन्मन्यसत्कर्म न भुञ्जीतेह सञ्जितं न भुञ्जीतेह सञ्जितम्.
There are two reasons given in this verse according to our experiences in life to say that body is not Atma. And the two reasons, the two reasons given is that the two reasons are, one is called as Akrita Abhyagama dosha. If the body is the Atma, then there is one dosha, a defect, which is called as Akrita Abhyagama. I will explain to you what is this. Just now, you just understand the technical term. Then the second is called Krita Vipranasa. If the body is Atma, the first dosha will be, in my life, I see an effect without a cause. For example, I experience pain now. But what is the cause of this pain? If the body is Atma, then the body should, I have not done, sir, anything which should cause pain in this birth. For example, people suffer from the very birth onwards. Some are born blind, some are born deaf, somebody cannot speak, some have got congenital diseases. So this aspect, how do you explain this? Body is the same for all of us, made up of Panchabhutas. So if the body is the self, why should there be differences in this world? That is one defect. It is called as Akrita Abhyugama. Akrita means I have not done this I have not done any evil things in this birth, but I still am suffering. This is one. The second is called as Krita Vipranasa. What does the second defect mean? We have seen several experiences in life, including our own life, that I put a lot of effort in this life. I do a lot of good things in this life. Before I can enjoy the results of my goodness, I leave the body. That means the results have not come for the actions done by me. Results are not reaped by the actions done by me. If the body was the self, then I should have the cause and the result in the same birth. So this is what Vidyaranya describes as the two defects if the body was the self. Now this aspect is discussed further in Brahma Sutra. When we this is one of the things which is discussed further there. But here, these are the two defects which Vidyaranya brings out in the text. Body comes because of sanchita fructification into prarabdha. See what we in the scriptures we talk about law of karma. Any body, whether it is an insect body, elephant body, mosquito body, any body means there is some karma attached to it. Therefore, it has come to experience certain result of that karma. And when the result are finished, it will go and take another body. That is the law of karma. So body is not the doer of karma or enjoyer of karma phalam. Hence, body cannot be the Atma. Body is inert by nature. There is a conscious jiva which is attached to this body, and that is the karta, that is the bhokta, that is the enjoyer, that is the doer. So if body akrita abhyagama is being explained in this next para, which is what I've already explained to you, if the body is Atma, how do we see the effect without a cause? For example, prodigies. Right from birth, you'll find there are certain boys and girls at the age of 5 and 6, they can chant the whole Bhagavad Gita. How? They know how to fly an aeroplane. These things are all seen in the YouTube nowadays. A child of 8-10 years old, he can describe to you. It's because of the previous vasanas which are there, which have not left that mind. A child artist, prodigy, how do we affect? It is not because of this birth. Therefore, this body cannot be the cause of the experiences which a jiva undergoes. That is what is the meaning of akrita abhyagama. It will be a dosha, it will be a defect. If body is the self, then this will be one of the major defects. I get what I have not done. I have experiences for which I am not responsible. That is what is the simple understanding of akrita abhyagama. And the second dosha is what? I do not enjoy the results. I am the karta. I know I have done so much of good in this life, but the bhokta, the enjoyer, is not seen. The karta has already left the body. So therefore, if the body is the self, these two defects will be there. Hence, the body is not me. Very, very beautifully said, very beautifully brought about by Vidyaranya. What is the karta and what is the bhokta according to Vidyaranya? It is a jiva. It is a reflected consciousness in the mind. And that is called as Vijnanamaya kosha. There is a higher entity compared to the body. There is a higher entity. It is called as Vijnanamayam and Anandamaya. The Anandamaya is described as the enjoyer. The Vijnanamaya is called as the doer of actions. In the sleep state, there is a Karana Sharira Vritti. Karana Sharira means what? We have three bodies: gross body, subtle body, causal body. So the causal body produces a thought. It is different than the thought produced by the subtle body. The thought produced by the subtle body belongs to the world of sense organs. Whatever I see in the world, the subtle body can produce thoughts and get reflected and be experienced. But in the sleep state, it is not the subtle body's thoughts, it is different thought. It is called as the causal body's thought. And that is called as avidya, ignorance. That ignorance is a thought. I need to remove that ignorance through the study of scriptures. This avidya, this ignorance is of the self. And this ignorance is experienced by the self, by the Sakshi. Sakshi is the consciousness which lies beyond the causal body. It is a superior knower compared to the mind and the senses. The mind and the senses are knowers of the world, external world. But who knows the sleep condition of the mind and the senses? What is that which knows this? That is the Sakshi. That is the pure consciousness. And it is recalled. This experience of knowing nothing, not knowing the body, is recalled because it is experienced during the sleep state. Therefore, easiness which is experienced without the body in the sleep state is our real state, is our intrinsic state. See how deep we have to go inside our own intellect. Scriptural study means you have to dive deep into your own mind. Let the thoughts of the scriptures remain in your mind for a certain period of time. You get absorbed in those thoughts. Once the absorption happens, then the light of consciousness illumines by itself, and that is what is called as self-realization. It is these words of the scriptures. So there is this self. If the body was the self, there will be intellectual chaos, because we will not be able to understand anything in life. So eternity is of two types. One is called as parinami nitya. You see, these are terms which are used because in order to understand the nature of ourself, we need to understand through the technical terms which are used. The flow of consciousness is like the flow of water in a river. That is one type of nitya, continuously flowing. Water is continuously flowing. Therefore, we say it is eternal. There is another type of eternal. It is called as kutastha nitya. Kutastha nitya means what? It remains changeless ever. See that there are two types of eternity. Think about it. You'll be able to go deeper into these terms. The changeless awareness comes under the kutastha nitya. It is ever changeless, never changing. Always the consciousness is the experiencer. It is never experienced. Always the subject. So this body is not before the birth. That is one reason. The second reason is I cannot be a bhokta without being a karta, like the prodigies, akrita abhyugama dosha. And third reason is I cannot be a karta without being a bhokta. That means I have done good things in life, but I have not reaped the results. So these are the three logical reasons given by Vidyaranya to say that body is not the Atma. Now let us go to understand why we say that prana is not the Atma. Pranamaya kosha is the second kosha.
Purnamaya पूर्णो देहे बलं यच्चन् पूर्णो देहे बलं यच्चन् अक्षाणां यः प्रवर्तकः अक्षाणां यः प्रवर्तकः वायुः प्राणमयो नासौ वायुः प्राणमयो नासौ आत्मा चैतन्यवर्जनात् आत्मा चैतन्यवर्जनात्.
The second kosha is called as the vital air sheath, prana. See, the body is now left out because we have now discussed the body is made up of food, that was not we. There are some schools of thought who believe that prana is the nature of, intrinsic nature of the jiva. Here Vidyaranya says, prana cannot be is not the nature of the self. He'll give his reasons, we'll see. What is the prana? The prana gives power to the body to move. Any motion of your hands, legs, eyes, all these movements are because of the air which we breathe. Any motion, you are moving your fingers, you're moving your legs, it's because of the Shakti, the power of the air which you breathe. That is why we have in Yoga Shastra Pranamaya, Pranayama, where we have special exercises to control the flow of air going into your lungs, holding on, and then releasing it slowly. When you do this type of exercises, what happens? The air which remains in the body for a longer time, and then you're able to get better strength in the body. It helps in all the physiological functions, also in the psychological functions. This prana pervades the body. Every inch of your body, the prana pervades. The air which you breathe, it pervades the entire body in some form or the other. It gives power to the sense organs and the organs of action. These are the only two things which we have. We use our organs of knowledge and get the inputs into our mind. We use the organs of action to produce the output in the world. I listen to something, I enjoy. If I want, I hear something, I get into action. Now this prana is devoid of consciousness. There is no sentiency in prana. That is the most important factor you should know. Many people in Vipassana, they spend hours looking at the prana in the body. They can get focusing capacity, but they need to come to the Shastra to see that, to understand that the knower of that prana is the real self, not the prana. The knowing, focusing on the breath for hours together, you can get the focusing ability of the mind. But what is experiencing this prana, the knowing this prana, the knower of prana is the self. That you should be very, very clear. Even in meditation, I always say, watch your breath. That is only for a split second. But then, see, watching the breath means the watcher is the consciousness. You are watching the breath. the flow of air at the tip of the nostrils, inhalation, exhalation. But who is the one who is watching it? That is the Atma. Purno dehe balam yacha akshanam yaha pravartakaha. In the deha, in the body, prana is purnaha. Purnaha means it's all pervading. It fills the entire body. All our physiological functions are enabled by prana. What are the physiological functions? The respiratory system, which is the inhalation and exhalation, it is called as prana. The second is apana. Apana is the excretion of the waste in the body. It could be sweat, it could be the fecal matter, it could be the urine. That is the function of apana, throwing out. It is a function, but it is enabled by the prana shakti, the air we breathe in. The third function is Vyana, circulation of the nutrients to the cells, nourishing the body. I eat the food, but then the certain portion of the food goes and gets converted into energy, nutrients. That is the function of Vyana Shakti, circulation. The fourth Shakti of Prana is called as Udana. Reverse action. Vomiting, expelling something which you have not digested, burping, yawning. These are all the Shakti of Prana. In these, when it is functioning at this level, it is called as Udana. Samana is digestion, stomach. In the stomach, whatever digests the food is again the function of the prana, the air we breathe in. Pravartakaha. Pravartakaha means it fills the body, pervades the body everywhere. Deha is annavikara. What is prana then? Prana is vayu vikara. It is a modification of vayu tattvam. Vayu which is outside, air which you see outside, it goes inside. When it goes inside, it is called as prana shakti. The karma indriyas are included in the pranamaya kosha. And the body is controlled by prana. Prana is not Atma. Prana is inert, jadam. There is no consciousness in it. But what is my experience? My experience is I'm not jadam. I'm a sentient being. Sentient means what? I am a knower. I know the world. I know that this is smelling. It's a fragrance. It's a rose. It's the jasmine. I'm the knower of that. I taste good food. I'm the knower of that. I'm the knower of emotions in my body. I'm the knower of sorrow, anger, all types of emotions. I'm the knower. See, the knower is what is different. And all our effort is to remove everything else and be alone as this consciousness knowing principle. The prana functions in the womb also. Whenever the first cell divides, it is because of the prana shakti. The cell divides into zygote. It's an inner division inside the cell. A zygote is formed when an egg cell is fertilized by a sperm cell. And then how the whole zygote, how it gets converted into blastocyst and embryo and placenta and fluid, all this is explained in this paragraph. I won't go into the details, you can just read it. So what happens is, what they are saying is that the prana shakti is responsible even for the formation, fertilization of the egg in the womb. All our powers of the prana in the body, in a single cell, there is a circulation movement. Taittiriya Upanishad says, this is from the Taittiriya Upanishad. It says prana is the life of beings. It is the life it is a universal life. And the Upanishad says, meditate on Brahman as prana. I am that pure consciousness which is experienced as prana. And what will happen when I meditate? I will live a very long life. Because prana is the life of beings. Prana is given a very, very high pedestal. It's put in the high pedestal in the Shastra because it is the vital factor in us. And meditation, there are many meditations in Chandogya Upanishad, Brihadaneka Upanishad, which talk about how to meditate on the prana shakti. Many, many meditations are there. If you Google, you'll be able to find that out. But this Pranamaya is not the self. And there is another covering to this Pranamaya, which is called as Manomaya. Mind controls the prana. That is what the Upanishads tell us. This is from the Taittiriya Upanishad. We are following exactly whatever the Taittiriya Upanishad is saying is described by Vidyaranya in the 3rd chapter. The whole 3rd chapter, if you want to understand more in detail, you study the Taittiriya Upanishad. Prana is the life in all the bodies. And in the Upanishad, there are a couple of mantras which I have put here. And in the Upanishad, the student is a son called Bhrigu, and the teacher is Varuna, the father. And the father teaches the son, and he says that there is something which is called as Brahman or consciousness, from which all this whole world of beings has come. They exist, and then when the jiva goes, he goes back to this pure consciousness. Yatova imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti. That is what is said. That from which beings are born, that in which the beings exist, that is called as pure consciousness. That is the ultimate root which we are trying to discover. Because of prana, beings come into life and they exist. When the prana goes away, the beings are not existing in the body. Prana does not know. Breathing, digestion, circulation, excretion, reverse action does not know anything. It is jadam, it is inert. These are all physiological functions. But the knower of this, I am breathing. When I say I am breathing, means I know I am breathing. The knower of the knower is the consciousness, which knows that the body is breathing, it is living, it is taking a bath, it is walking, it is the knower. That knower is consciousness. That is the self. I know the problems, my eyes do not see. Who knows that? It is the consciousness. My stomach is upset today. Who knows that? It is the consciousness. It is not the body. If the prana was the body, in Vijnanamaya Upanishad, there is a simple exercise where a teacher takes a student to a sleeping person and calls the name of the student, but the person doesn't wake up. The prana is there in the person, he is sleeping, but it doesn't know. Therefore, the person doesn't get up on being called. This is one of the exercises. So the self is the knower principle, the experiencer principle. It enables the prana shakti to be in this body. Vedanta is based on a truth which you don't know today, but you have faith in that truth. And that truth is revealed to you when you study the scriptures. Next week, we'll do the 6th mantra and we'll talk about the 3rd kosha, which is called as Manomaya kosha. So after this, we are going to do Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, Anandamaya kosha. All the koshas will go, and each kosha we will say why it is not the self. Prana is not the self because it is not the knower. Prana doesn't know the body. Consciousness knows the body. Body is made up of Annamaya, born of food. It is not the self. So we have seen up to 5, the 2 koshas. The 3rd kosha we'll do next week. Okay, so that completes the chapter 3 session today. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I will ask you to unmute. You can unmute yourself and you can ask me whatever you feel. Any questions, anything, any remarks about this session?
Shikhaji,
Yes, about why?
in the early statement, you said that not all men have jivas. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, correct. You see, all men do not have another jiva in their body. That means there are certain men who don't have the ability to produce children.
Produce?
Children.
Oh.
There are some people who do not. I mean, and you see, the people, they do not have the ability, sometimes at old age, sometimes at young age, you know, the jivas exist in the body for a very short time. Whenever they want to, whenever they are able to come out to in a particular body, then this is all the cosmic law, you know.
But without jivas, how they can live? They must have jivas, right?
No. I'm talking about the other souls. You see, they are jivas themselves. I'm talking about children. The jiva which comes into the body and which is born through the body as a child. I'm talking about that jiva, no new
Oh.
baby, a baby which is born. See, all of us are jivas ourselves. Okay, but in this body of mine, another jiva enters through the food which I take. And then, according to cosmic law, one particular jiva enters my body, and then it's born through me into the world.
Oh.
See, your children, for example, you have son. Your son is born. Your son is a jiva. Now that jiva has come out through your body because of prarabdha karma. You see, that jiva has to be born through you into this world. You are born through your father into this world. As per the law of karma, as per the cosmic law, the entire cycle of jivas, karmas, phalams, they are coming and going.
But
yes.
as you say that because no children or whatever, then it is based on their past karma.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, you are right. Yes. Suppose somebody doesn't have a child. There are many people who don't have a child. There are many people who don't even get married. Why? Because of prarabdha karma. They are come into this world to have experiences as per a certain given structure. You're born in Singapore, you come here, you're born in America, you're born in Japan, you're born in Korea, you're born in Russia. See, each one is born in a different country. How do you explain this? Some have got 20 years of life, somebody has got 100 years of life, somebody has got 5 years of life. How do you explain this? Through the law of karma.
It's why I understand, Singhaji, that I read the Gita, they say that there are people who are working on this, our age, it's a kind of straw, you see. How high is the straw? And we live according to that age, you see.
No, see, our age depends according to the karma phalam. You see, each one of us has got a certain action to perform and a result to enjoy. Till the last action, suppose there is somebody in the world to whom you are supposed to benefit, you are supposed to help that person. Till you have helped that person, you will not leave this world. Suppose somebody is supposed to give you some joy. Till you have got that joy from that other person, you will not leave this world. That is the law of karma. Karma means it is an action and a reaction. That is what is the whole universe. The whole universe is only actions you do. What do you do since morning? What have you done throughout your life? It's only actions and reactions. I mean, you do certain actions and then you get some rewards of either sukham or dukham. Suppose you say, I've earned $1 million or $10 million or $100 million. Now that $100 million might have given you happiness or it might have given you sadness also. So all your effort has been what? Ultimately, the result is only two things in life. Happiness, sadness. Happiness, sadness.
But it doesn't explain why that so-and-so can live long and so-and-so.
No. You see, the life, the duration of life is decided by whatever karma is getting fructified. That means, you see, suppose you have, this is the law of karma. Suppose you have done 100 actions. Out of 100 actions, you are supposed to come and enjoy in this birth the result of 10 actions. The moment the result of 10 actions you have enjoyed, you will quit the body and take another body to enjoy the next birth. This is what the law of karma says. But then there is something which is beyond all this, and that is pure consciousness. And that, if you try to understand, then the law of karma will not affect you. You will always be able to remain very aloof from the body and the mind, and always say, this body and mind belongs to Ishvara. I am the pure consciousness in which the whole drama is happening. Like every day in the morning, you see the whole world, cosmos, you see everything in the world. In the sleep state, the whole thing collapses. Again, the next day, something else comes up. So the way we look at the world changes when we go through the scriptures and we get a new vision. See, that is what we are trying to learn through Panchadasi. We are going to understand, ultimately, I am the Atma. I am not bothered about whatever is happening at the body level and at the mind level. Mind will go through changes. As per the body's conditions, the mind will change. And as per the conditions outside, the mind will keep on having sorrow or joy, you know. But I will not be affected because I have the knowledge of the scriptures. That I am different than the body. Is it clear?
One more question, Shekaji. This one you were saying that if body is Atma, how do we see the effect without the cause?
See, now that is the defect. Suppose you say body is the Atma, then what we see, then what the scripture says, in life, you see certain people are able to enjoy certain things at very young age. But they have not done anything specific in this birth. See, at the age of 5 or 10, if somebody is born rich, he gets all the glories right at the young age. At a very young age, you see some prodigies. They call it as gifted children, you know. They are able to sing very well, they're able to dance very well, they're able to do so many things at a very young age. So this defect, suppose the body is the self, you say, how come this body is able to do so many different things, whereas the other bodies are not able to do? So therefore, or for example, therefore, we say that the body is not the self because I see certain defects in the body, therefore it cannot be the self. See, the body is, that is the first thing we should understand. The body is just a shell, it is only a covering, it is only a house. And it is a house for what? It is a house for a jiva. And in this house is housed in a bigger house. That bigger house is called as Ishvara. The whole cosmos, for example, your body cannot survive without air. You can't survive without the air, breathing air, you cannot survive. That air is given by whom? It is from outside. That outside principle is called as Ishvara. See, we have to go step by step. You have now understood I'm not the body because it is only food. The food eaten by my parents have given birth to this body. But I am not the body, I am the jiva, I am the soul. I have entered this body because of a cosmic law, which is governed by Ishvara. I, the Jiva, am the enjoyer and the I enjoy this body's sukham and dukham. I mean, whatever is the experiences I get in this life, I am, you see, I am inside this body, but I am not the body. That is how you should look at it.
But all based on our past.
Correct. It's based on past karma.
Right.
So the karma theory will help us to understand our experiences in life, and the knowledge which we get from the scriptures will free me from this law of karma, and I can own up myself as the ever free Atma.
Thank you.
These are the two things you should remember. Number one, if I want to know what is this world outside, what is this body, I go to law of karma. Suppose I want to know who is the real one who is enjoying or who is experiencing all this, then you should come to the scriptures and ask, who is that Atma? That Atma is what we are studying in Panchadasi. Ultimately, at the end of 47 verses, Vidyaranya will say, this is Atma. This is the one which is there inside the cave of 5 koshas. They are all the 5 dresses. This body I see is only one of the dress. The prana is another dress. The thought is a third dress. So you have to go inside and inside and inside, and then ultimately see who is the ultimate seer, experiencer in this body.
Atma.
Yes, that is the path.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Akshay is asking a question. Does following celibacy forever is a must to experience the ultimate reality? No, not at all. Grihasthas have experienced the reality. You and me are experiencing every day. See, the way we should understand is experience is not the problem, because that's my nature. I have to remove all the dresses. That is why I study. The moment I remove the dresses, automatically you will say, I know myself. Many people who are grihasthas, who are householders, have gone through this study and they have understood their real nature, and they have lived a life of fulfillment. It is not that you have to be a celibate to realize this. You may be having this doubt because you see many Swamijis who are taken that life, but it is not because they have taken that life they are able to realize this ultimate reality. No. This reality is something available to all of us, everyone, and it is experienced by so many of us. See, in the scriptures and in our real life also, you'll find many people say that I have understood the Bhagavad Gita, I have understood the Upanishad, and I know who I am. It's not you and me are the first people to try this out. There are thousands of people who have realized this. It's a daily, this is the nature of this world. It gives liberation to certain souls who are ready. If you are ready, you come to the right teacher. The teacher will teach the scripture. That scripture will liberate your mind and say, I am this Atma. I am that pure consciousness. It can happen to anybody at any day. Again, this is as per the law of karma. So your question is, it is not necessary. Akshay, is it clear?
Yes, yes. Means if celibacy followed, the chances are more. Is it? Or
I wouldn't say chances are more. It is only a certain way of life one wants to adopt so that they get a better time to get more time involved in the scriptural study. That's all. You see, there are certain people who join the Gurukulas at the age of 18, 20, in Chinmaya mission, in Ramakrishna mission, in Arsha Vidya schools. They all go there and they become Swamijis, and they enjoy that life also. It's not that everybody becomes a grahastha and everybody. See, the world is full of all types of people. But the main thing you should understand is scriptural knowledge is important. You can get married, or you can go and see, if you get married, the problem is the time available to you is limited. You have certain duty towards your family that will take up a little bit more time. But it is not important, it is not a must. Because even in the Grahastha, you can learn the Bhagavad Gita, you can learn the Upanishad, you can come for these type of classes, and there are thousands of people. I mean, I've come across so many types of people in all walks of life. They say they have studied and they have known, and then they are free. See, what happens is, when you study the scriptures for a certain amount of time, this knowledge, it becomes deep. There are two types of vasanas. One is called as Jiva Vasana, another is called as a Brahma Vasana. Now, Jiva Vasana is very strong with us today because I don't have knowledge about my real nature, that I am the pure self, which I experience every day. When I go to sleep, who I am. Without the body, I exist. But nobody told me till today that I am that pure self. If you are able to accept this fact, which is revealed by the scriptures, you are free right now. That's all. You don't need anything else. You have to trust the scriptures. It is the Upanishad which tells us, Prashno Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, all of them, they clearly say that you are Brahman, you are the pure consciousness, which is the ultimate reality behind the universe. And it is this universe, it is into this reality we all resolve in our sleep state. And again, what happens in death? In death, it's the same thing. We all resolve to this particular pure consciousness level. That's all. Okay, anybody else has a question?
Mr. Shekhar, how are you?
Yeah,
Jacqueline
fine,
here.
Yes.
I just want to ask you, I think people were talking about lights. Pure consciousness, which is profound and is invisible, and we really don't know what it is, right?
Yes.
So when people say light, air cannot, because we are breathing. At this moment, if there's no air, the body will not be there.
Correct.
So
Body
when people
depends
say
on the,
it is light, is it correct, or is it still invisible?
What is it?
Light.
The life is invisible. It is always invisible. It cannot be visible to the sense organs. Therefore, it is invisible. It is called as aprameya. Aprameya means it is always not visible to the eyes or to the sense organs, but it exists.
Yeah, we really don't know. It's all over our places.
Don't know means don't know through your mind, but we know it exists through the scriptures.
Okay.
There are certain things which you know through the sense organs and through the mind, and that is what we call it as the world.
Yep.
What we don't know through the sense organs and through the mind, there is another source of knowledge which reveals to me the consciousness, and I accept that as the source, and I remain fulfilled in life, because that source tells me that there is a common aspect in this world, which is called as consciousness. There is one thing which is common to all of us, and that is this pure consciousness, not known through this through the sense organs or the mind, but only through the scriptures. You see, it is in this consciousness that the whole world is experienced. Try to contemplate on this point. In what light do I experience this world in the waking state? In what light do I experience nothingness in my sleep state?
Yep.
That light is called as the light of consciousness.
Okay. Okay.
Remember, think about it, contemplate on this.
Right.
You will never go wrong. You will always remain as that pure light, and that light is called as Atma. I am that pure. Atma means I am the pure light of consciousness, which is aware of nothingness and which is aware of the whole cosmos. In the waking state, I see the whole world. My body, the other people who live with me, the whole country, everything I know. And in the sleep state, what happens for 8 hours, not 1 minute or 2 minutes, 8 full hours. I see, I experience, I am there. Who is that I? Is the I which is experiencing the waking world real? Or is it the I which is experiencing the sleep state which is real? The scripture says both are unreal, but what witnesses both this is the reality.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate.
Okay, these are very deep questions, Jacqueline. I'm glad you have asked them, but they tell me that you are thinking very, very deeply.
I'm learning from you each and every day. Appreciate.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Anybody else?
Yes, the awareness equates to consciousness.
Yes.
So that, in other words, once you are aware, you know there's consciousness already.
Once you're aware,
you are already conscious.
Yes, you are already conscious. You see, I am already conscious. Only thing is, it is covered. It is covered with this body, prana, the intellect, the happiness. It's covering. You know, these are all covering the pure awareness. So in this chapter 3, we are trying to remove each covering one by one. And we will give a reason to it. Why I am not the food, why I am not the prana, why I am not the mind. Every dress of mine, I try to remove, and then I see who am I? who is always there. There is no change in me at all. And that is the pure light of consciousness. It's changeless. You see, the thing is, everything else in the world is changing. My body is changing, the cells are changing, the mind is changing, the outside world is changing. But the seer, the experiencer is the consciousness, and that is the knowing principle. And the more I come to learn from the scriptures, again and again, I listen to the scriptures, I listen again. Then what happens is, slowly, the mind starts thinking and going deeper into that pure consciousness, and that mind which was external starts owning up that consciousness as itself.
Start going inwards.
Yes, it goes inwards and says, oh, that is it. And it's easy, it's not difficult. You and I can all do it. Very easy. You just have to follow the technique of the scriptures. That's all. Thank you.
One question. Thank you so much for the session. First of all, very, very helpful.
Yes, Arun.
My question is, how does this process of birth stop? Does it cease or it is continuous?
No, the birth will stop only when you are acknowledging that I am the pure consciousness. Till you say, till your own mind gets convinced of the fact, that is what is called as the yoga, the union with the higher. You drop the union with the body, and then you join pure consciousness. Till then, this body will keep on coming back into the world. Because that is what is called as the ignorance. All of us have this ignorance that I am the body. So the body, the birth will stop only when you become a jnani, when you become a knower of consciousness. In the scriptures, the knowledge aspect is given a lot of prominence. Knowledge. And knowledge of not the external world, but knowledge of this pure light of consciousness. This pure self. You know, again and again, the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads tell me, I am not this body, I am the pure self. I am the pure self. Now, the moment this mind, you see, ultimately the jiva is nothing but it is a reflection in the mind. Reflection of the consciousness in the mind. The mind and the reflection together is the jiva. Okay, now this jiva in this body, your body, my body, everybody's body, it thinks that it is the body today. But slowly, with the help of the scriptures, when it comes to know that this body is not, it is, see what happens once you get the, well, suppose you say, okay, I have learned the scriptures and I have understood I'm not the body. What happens to you? What happens to you is, whatever experiences you get in life, then you will say, they are all experiences which are fleeting.
Yeah. I won't have attachment to them.
You don't have attachment to them. You say it's like a dream. Like yesterday also I dreamed, day yesterday also I dreamed. The whole waking experience is like a dream. It is not so. I'm not attached to either sukham or dukkham, both. I see the knowledge of the scriptures helps you to say I am not attached to the good things in life, neither to the bad things in life. And you remain calm, serene, absolutely in your own state as pure self. That is what is the fulfillment you get out of the study. Because it reveals your nature as that. So the body gets dropped and then you say, I am fulfilled in life. See, many a times after 5-10 years of study, people will say, I have really got fulfillment in life because I know the real nature of this whole world and also about myself. Till you have the knowledge of both your own body and the whole world, your study cannot stop. Because Jiva Atma and Paramatma, that Aikyam, they say that oneness which is there, you should come to that oneness. Ultimately, that oneness will release you from the cycle of birth and death. There is one entity, whatever you may call it Krishna, you may call it Shiva, you can call it Devi, anything. That reality cannot be seen by the eyes. It is there. And as a jiva, you keep on meditating. Yes, I am that. I am one with that reality. And once your intellect gets convinced, it leaves the body and it joins the jiva. It joins the pure reality. It's a very, very gradual, natural process which happens in life. Exactly like how you wake up to, from a dream, you wake up to waking. From waking, you wake up to the higher nature. That's all.
Okay.
It's a very, very same process. Exactly from sleep to dream, dream to waking, how it happens. You move from this physical plane to the plane of pure consciousness. Okay, time is up. We'll catch up next week. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, Shikhaji.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate.
Thank you. Good night, Sheriji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om.